You think you're making your own choices. You're not. Every decision you made today, the coffee you ordered, the way you reacted to that email, the reason you're watching this right now, was programmed into you before you turned 7 years old. Your childhood is running your life from the shadows, and you don't even know it. Psychologists call it the unconscious blueprint, the invisible code written in your brain during your most vulnerable years. Invisible code controls you. Carl Jung spent his entire career trying to decode it. Freud built an empire studying it. And yet, most people go their entire lives without ever questioning why they do what they do. Today, we're going to expose the hidden forces that have been steering your life since before you could even speak. What you're about to discover might disturb you, but as the Stoics knew, the first step toward change is awareness. And awareness, my friend, is exactly what we're about to create. The invisible script. Before you could walk, before you could talk, your brain was recording everything. Every raised voice, every moment of silence, every time someone held you and every time they didn't. Neuroscientists at UCLA discovered something remarkable. Between birth and age 7, your brain operates primarily in theta waves, the same brainwave state used in hypnosis. You were literally hypnotized by your environment. Your subconscious mind was downloading beliefs, behaviors, and emotional patterns like a supercomputer absorbing raw data. No filters, no critical thinking, just pure absorption. Everything your parents said became your inner voice. If they said you were smart, you believed it. If they said you were difficult, you believed that too. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist who spent decades studying human development, calls this the programming period. Your conscious mind, the part that questions and analyzes, wasn't even online yet. You were essentially a recording device, capturing the beliefs of everyone around you. Recording device, no filters. And here's the disturbing part. Those recordings never stopped playing. They became the background music of your entire life. But how exactly do these childhood programs manifest in your adult decisions? Money beliefs. Think about your relationship with money. Really think about it. Do you feel guilty when you spend? Do you hoard every dollar in fear? Or do you spend compulsively, unable to keep money in your account? Your financial behavior was programmed before kindergarten. Here's the truth most financial advisors won't tell you. Your money mindset has almost nothing to do with math and almost everything to do with what you heard at the dinner table when you were 5. If your parents argued about bills, if you heard phrases like money doesn't grow on trees or we can't afford that, those phrases became neural pathways. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. A study from Cambridge University found that money habits are formed by age 7. 7 years old. Before you learned long division, your brain had already decided whether you deserved wealth or not. 7. Those parents who said rich people are greedy accidentally program their children to sabotage their own success. Because why would your brain let you become something it believes is morally wrong? Sabotage success, unconscious pattern. This is why lottery winners often go broke within years. New money can't override old programming, but money is just the beginning. What about the relationships you keep choosing? Love patterns. Why do you keep dating the same type of person? Why do some people always choose partners who hurt them? The answer lies in something psychologists call attachment theory, and it was sealed before your 3rd birthday. Your first relationship programmed every relationship after. Dr. John Bowlby discovered that infants develop one of 4 attachment styles based entirely on how their caregivers responded to them. Secure, anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. This isn't personality. This is programming. Secure, anxious, avoidant, disorganized. If your mother was emotionally unavailable, your brain learned that love means chasing someone who won't give you what you need. If your father was unpredictable, your nervous system became wired to feel comfortable only in chaos. You mistake familiarity for love. This is why people leave perfectly healthy relationships, because they feel boring. The absence of drama feels wrong because their childhood taught them that love should hurt. We repeat what we don't repair. Your adult self wants peace, but your inner child wants what feels like home, even if home was a war zone. The cycle continues until you see it. And speaking of what we can't see, let's talk about the voice in your head that never stops criticizing you. Inner critic. That voice in your head, the one that says you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that everyone is judging you. That's not your voice. It never was. Never. It's an echo, an internalized recording of how you were spoken to, how you were looked at, how you were made to feel during your most formative years. Psychologists call it the inner critic, but a more accurate name would be the inherited critic. Someone else's voice became your internal dialogue. If a parent constantly corrected you, your brain created a subroutine that constantly corrects yourself. If a teacher humiliated you in front of the class, that moment lives in your nervous system, replaying every time you're about to speak up. Shame criticism echoes forever. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Most people spend their entire lives being bullied by a voice that isn't even theirs. They follow its commands without question. Don't try, you'll fail. Don't speak up, you'll be rejected. Stay small, stay safe. Stay small, stay safe, stay stuck. The tragedy is that they believe this voice is protecting them. But what else did your childhood secretly program into your operating system? Fear responses. Have you ever overreacted to something small? Your partner came home late and suddenly you're furious. Your boss gave you feedback and you couldn't sleep for 3 days. A friend didn't text back and you spiraled into anxiety. These aren't rational responses to present situations. Your nervous system is responding to the past, not the present. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, one of the world's leading trauma researchers, explains that the body keeps the score. Your childhood experiences are stored not just in your memory, but in your muscles, your gut, your heart rate. Body keeps the score. When something in the present even slightly resembles something painful from your past, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, doesn't distinguish between then and now. It just screams danger. Danger. This is why some people panic when voices are raised, even in a movie. Why some people shut down completely during conflict. Why some people can't say no without their hands shaking. The past is never dead. It's not even past. Your adult mind knows you're safe, but your childhood programming hasn't gotten the memo. So how do we begin to rewrite code that was installed before we could even speak? Hidden beliefs. Beneath every behavior is a belief, and beneath every belief is an experience, usually from childhood, that created it. You don't just wake up one day believing you're unworthy of love or success or happiness. Someone taught you that without saying a single word. These are called core beliefs, and they operate like the operating system of a computer, invisible but controlling everything. A child who was only praised for achievements learns that their worth depends on performance. A child who was ignored learns that their needs don't matter. Worth equals performance. A child who was told they were too much learns to shrink themselves in every room they enter. The philosopher Seneca observed this 2,000 years ago. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. But what he didn't say is that our imagination was shaped by our childhood. The suffering we create in our minds follows blueprints drawn before we could read. Invisible blueprints controlling visible behaviors. These beliefs don't announce themselves. They hide behind rationalizations. I'm just being realistic. That's just how I am. I'm not lucky like other people. But these aren't truths. They're installed programs. And if they can be installed, can they also be uninstalled? The awakening. Here's where the story begins to change. Because the moment you become aware of your programming is the moment you gain the power to change it. Awareness. This is what the ancient philosophers understood. The Stoics didn't teach suppression of emotions. They taught examination of them. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. But to change your way of thinking, you must first see your way of thinking. You cannot change what you refuse to see." Modern neuroscience confirms what the philosophers intuited. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, proves that we are not prisoners of our past. The neural pathways formed in childhood can be weakened, and new pathways can be strengthened. Brain can rewire itself. Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented cases of people completely transforming their personalities by consciously choosing new thoughts, new behaviors, new beliefs, until those new patterns became automatic. The chains that bind you are made of thought, and thoughts can be changed, but awareness alone isn't enough. You need a method. Reparenting. There's a practice in psychology called reparenting, and it might be the most powerful tool for breaking free from childhood programming. The concept is simple but profound. You become the parent your inner child needed but never had. Give yourself what no one else could give you. When your inner critic attacks, you respond with the compassion a good parent would offer. When fear arises, you provide the safety and reassurance that was missing. When you fail, instead of punishment, you offer understanding. Talk to yourself like you would to someone you love. This isn't about blaming your parents. Most parents did the best they could with what they had. No blame, just healing. This is about taking responsibility for your own healing, because no one is coming to save you. No one can reach into your psyche and delete the faulty programs. Only you can do that. Dr. Nicole Lapira, known as the holistic psychologist, has guided millions through this process. She teaches that healing is a daily practice, not a destination. Every day, you choose whether to repeat the past or create something new. Every moment of self-compassion weakens the old programming and strengthens the new. But there's another piece to this puzzle that most people miss entirely. Somatic release. Remember what Dr. van der Kolk said, the body keeps the score. This means that thinking your way out of childhood trauma isn't enough. The programming isn't just in your mind. It's in your muscles, your breath, your nervous system. Your body remembers what your mind forgot. This is why you can logically understand that you're safe, but still feel anxious. Why you can know you deserve love, but still feel unworthy. The intellectual understanding hasn't reached the body yet. Mind says safe, body screams danger. Somatic therapies work with the body to release stored trauma. Techniques like breathwork, movement, even shaking, can help discharge the survival energy that's been trapped since childhood. Body stores trauma release. Peter Levine, who developed somatic experiencing, observed that animals in the wild rarely develop PTSD despite constant threat. Why? Because they physically shake off the stress response after danger passes. Trauma is not what happens to you, but what happens inside you. Humans taught to suppress and control hold onto that energy for decades. The tension in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the tightness in your chest, these aren't random. They are messages from your past, waiting to be heard and released. And once you begin this release, everything starts to shift. New programming. You are not your childhood. You are not your programming. You are the awareness that can observe both and choose something different. Choose. Every thought you consciously select, every belief you deliberately question, every response you mindfully choose instead of react, rewires your brain. This is the science of transformation. Neurons that fire together wire together. The neural pathways of your childhood programming weaken when you stop using them. The new pathways you create strengthen with every repetition. Old fades, new grows. This is not positive thinking. This is neurological reconstruction. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes the willingness to feel uncomfortable as you step outside the familiar patterns that have run your life. The only way out is through. But on the other side of that discomfort is freedom. Real freedom. Not freedom from external circumstances, but freedom from the invisible prison of your own unconscious mind. The Stoics understood that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. And now you understand something deeper. Before you can choose your response, you must first see the programming that has been choosing for you. Your childhood gave you a script. For years, maybe decades, you've been following it without knowing it existed. The program was invisible, but its effects were everywhere. In your relationships that kept failing in the same ways. in your financial patterns that never seem to change, in that voice that told you to stay small, stay safe, stay stuck. But now you see it, and seeing is the beginning of freedom. See, understand, transform, free. This doesn't mean your past doesn't matter. It does. Those experiences shaped you, but they don't have to define you. Every moment offers a choice. React from old programming or respond from new awareness. No man is free who is not master of himself. The work isn't easy. Unlearning decades of conditioning never is. But it's the most important work you'll ever do. Because when you finally break free from the invisible chains of your childhood, you don't just change yourself. You change what you pass on. The patterns stop with you. Freedom, the truth, is never comfortable, but it's always worth knowing. If this opened your eyes, hit like and subscribe. History has more to teach us.